Ladies and gentlemen, drum roll.
You don't like that.
Welcome.
I cannot be rolling drum again. You are the one that said so.
Me. Where did I say it? Who said it? To whom was it said? When was it said? How was it said? Where was it said?
Where's my red pen that signed it off? Well, he's one of the big creative minds in Nollywood, and it's a pleasure to have him on the program. He's an award-winning filmmaker and the founder of Ant Hill Studios with over 15 years in the Nigerian film industry. He has built a reputation for innovative storytelling and high-quality productions.
Thank you.
Wow. And much more.
Much more. I was expecting to hear award-winning writer, producer, director.
That's how I started.
Filmmaker.
It's all filmmaker. It's all inclusive.
Oh, sorry. Thank you for joining us this morning.
Thank you.
How's it been?
It's great. It's great. Apart from the obvious heat that is outside.
You see, we are feeling the heat.
I know you are enjoying this.
One of the, having been in this industry for a while, one of the things that had given us concern in time past, after the Ogunde, Babasala, Adelov era, was good storytelling. We were rescued a bit by sitcoms in the 80s and some uncoordinated comedy also in the 80s and in the 90s. It's the entire entertainment industry in Nigeria, but more now because you are in the filmmaking space. How would you say we were able to make that transition? Is it because of the comparison? Is it because of the threats of Western content that came into our country?
Well, when you say transition, have we transitioned to something better?
I would say yes.
Yes. And so you're right. Back in the days, people were very limited, in terms of volume to what they had access to. I always like to say most of my filmmaking knowledge came, watching Channels TV films, after the 10 o'clock news, if you remember, back then, in the mid-90s. And that was really all a lot of people had, it was only rich people that had access to cable. And even in the era of the VHSs that we had, then it was still limited. It wasn't like mass delivered until the 2000s, mid 2000s, 2010s, where there were a bit more access to a lot more stuff, where people saw different possibilities. That was happening at the same time. The barrier to entry was getting lower for filmmakers. Equipment were cheaper. Digital took over. You didn't need big fancy cameras with giant lights to make a film. You can make a film with minimal budget.
Even with your phone.
Yeah, even now with your phone. Yeah. And I think that exploded and gave more voices, to the industry.
But it's more of the storytelling I'm talking about. Yeah. Any human can pick a phone. I have a 9-year-old. She can pick a phone and record. But it's the storytelling here that I think is quite something. But let me ask you a bit more specifically. Someone had said to me that we seem to have a challenge with telling our own authentic African stories. The Woman King is an African story. But as you know, Nigerians, or not many Africans, played lead, at least that we know, in that particular film. And there are a number of others. In fact, I'm hearing rumors that an American is being proposed to lead the cast of Things Fall Apart. So it's that storytelling challenge. Yeah. It's not that we are not good storytelling. Tales by Moonlight was not just a TV series. Yeah. It was our way of life. So what's the challenge there?
Well, if someone is financing a production from Hollywood, millions of dollars, and they are hoping to sell to an international market, they are going to rework the story to their taste. And it's easy for us to sit and complain about things like that, but if we're not willing to do the work and make the investment, then someone is going to do it for us.
Wow.
That's where we are right now as an industry. And what we're saying right now is that to really be genuinely authentic and be at scale, is going to require a lot more than just sheer will. It's going to require funding. It's going to require structure. It's going to require distribution. And those are like really strong things that we haven't quite figured out yet. So you're right in saying that, the great storytellers out there, but what people fail to realize is that the audience taste is also, it's juicier now. They don't want an authentic Nigerian story that looks like what their parents saw in the 90s. They want it to look like Game of Thrones.
Yes.
Else they will reject it. We know this because in cinemas we know that Hollywood films don't even need to do any marketing. Nigerians will watch it. So it's easy for us to just say, hey, let's be authentic, let's tell authentic story, and we forget the fact that the audience want a lot more beyond that. And that's really where the challenge is. If we do not have distribution networks to ensure that these films make profit, then there's no incentive.
Let me ask you a personal question. What's your experience about funding? Game of Thrones was like centuries ago. The same thing I compare, permit me to reference this series by Akinmolayan, Anikulapo, is also in like some hundreds of years, maybe like 100 or so years ago, set there. Such films like Game of Thrones, I don't know if that is what you're also doing with the Value of Hidden Treasures, will definitely costs a lot more than money. It'll cost a lot of thinking, a lot of repositioning, a lot of resetting, creating the 1920s, 1930s, 1900s, and all of that. What kind of challenge do you go through?
Those things cost money.
Oh, really?
Yes. In fact, that's really where all the money goes. And I think one of the failures of the conversations that we've been having around Nollywood is this illusion that, you can pop out good story from anywhere. No, good stories take time. Good stories take a lot of time to develop. It requires a very select skill. There's a reason why, you have just a select number of authors, even of books, that are prime and people you would consider these are the specialists in that field. When it comes to film, people expect that, anybody with a good story should just make a film, but great stories take a lot of time to develop. Time is money. And now when it comes to these kind of films, like the Nikolakos and co, there really isn't any direct reference. Like, you can't just pop up a picture from
anywhere,
the 18th century and recreate it. No, you have to imagine things. You have to build stuff that didn't exist. You have to think about costumes. Those are the things that lend authenticity, to these films. And those things cost a lot of money to make. So you might have a brilliant idea, but it's going to take a while to develop. You're not just going to hand it over to anyone to develop it. The budgets that Hollywood spend in films and series, they also have this extra budget that they make out for reshoots, rewrites. They might be doing something and they feel this thing is not working, or they get some feedback, and then they pump money into rewriting, bringing the entire crew. Again, that's why you get things that, are near perfect, in those spaces. And anytime we have these conversations, we need to say, the money is not just the money to pay cast and crew. It is the money to even develop the ideas, It is the money to make these ideas into reality. Sometimes it is even the money to just get good IP. Like, if you wanted to make a film about Fela, Now, the chain of different processes you'd have to get through, because Fela belongs to, not just the family, it's a much bigger IP. So how do you even explore that if you do not have the right funding for it? So we always say, the conversation is very nuanced, but you must never say that you can do anything even if you do not have money. You're going to need to bring out the best out of all the segments, with funding.
Right, and when you go through all that stress, you spend the money, you spend the time, you pay people to research, you do so many things. How do you now ensure that the story resonates with the audience such that, critiques and reviews don't consider it a flop? Because because sometimes that happens. A lot of you spend resources, developing an idea before you even develop it into a film. You do meetings upon meetings to brainstorm, to do a lot of things, and you pay people for those meetings. It's different from paying cast and crew.
Yes.
So how do you ensure that the story is such a brilliant idea that it resonates with the audience?
There are lots of factors now in the world that we are now to get a film, to resonate with the audiences, and it's beyond just the story. First of all, you have to agree that there's a bit of a gamble in filmmaking. Sometimes it's not your fault. Sometimes the audience just don't want that film at that time. You've had instances of films that didn't do well in cinemas but later became cult classics. Even in Hollywood, that happens all the time. So you can't predict as much. You can never predict 100%. There is no formula. If there was a formula to ensure that audiences love a film, then we'll all be making the same films, right? Nobody knows anything for sure.
It's not like music.
Exactly. Even look at music, for example. Someone will come out, his name is Charlie Poppy, and he says something, and you feel that, what is this to my ear? And then the kids love it, and then there's nothing you can do about it. So there is a bit of risk taking when it comes to film that every filmmaker understands. But what we also know now is that when you push marketing properly, you might get enough audience, the kind of audience that will love your kind of film. You want as many as possible to come, because it also helps that the people you're making the film for are the ones who come to see the film. Absolutely. Because you're never going to make films for everyone. But if you do not get the word out for the people you're making the film, then you've cut out, where some of those returns can come
who do you make films for?
Well, because of the nature of filmmaker that I am, I'm interested in everyone. Antil Studios is the only studio in Nigeria that has explored all the genres. We've done epic films, we've done animation, we've done stuff for kids, we've done science fiction, we've done everything, because we like to think that, it's the spectrum, for storytelling and even the audience is wide, and we do not want to be limited to a particular demographic or a social class and all that. So I'm excited about making films for everyone.
So tell us about this Valley of Hidden Treasure.
Valley of Hidden Treasure.
Is it an epic?
No, so it's a completely new thing. December last year, early last year, we started thinking about expanding the entertainment frontier in Nigeria. I mean, I've done film for years, but I wanted to try something. So we thought about reinventing theater. We totally reinvented the idea of theater, and it came from the way I thought about African stories. In those days, like you made example of Tales by Moonlight, people will sit and then kids will sit around there, but the kids were participating in the story. When you look at cinema, it's very one-dimensional. You only just watch and react. So we did a show called Forest of Talking Drums. Every audience member had drums. They had to play for the story to move forward. Leaves were falling whenever they called the spirits and they were playing drum. Rain was falling, on the set. There was fire, there was wind. It was really immersive. So we designed it as a concept called Immersive, which means that we're going to take African stories, but we're going to make every audience member be part of it. And it was a huge hit. All the shows were sold out. We had over 5,400 people actually come to see.
Cumulatively.
Yeah, so we decided we're going to do the next one this, holiday period, and it's called Valley of Hidden Treasures. Same idea, but even bigger. People are going to be in this huge cave, okay, and you should all come. And then they will take part. They're going to play xylophones. They're going to call, to the spirits of the valley. There's going to be a real treasure. And the interesting thing is that an audience member is going to go home with that treasure every show, and it's a lot of.
Is this a real cave or a built cave?
We built it,
right.
on set, and there's even more happening. There's wind, there's fire, there's rain, and people get immersed. There's even a big camel in the story that is going to interact with the actor. So it's a new form of entertainment, and that's what we're saying, that we should expand the possibilities, and we're also making sure it's family oriented, so your grandpa can come, your mom, your dad, and all the kids. What we did was to split the ticketing, so the kids is cheaper, is 8.5, regular is 18K and all that. And because we did it last year and it was a huge success, we've gotten a lot of people say, please don't exclude kids, don't exclude our grannies. We want everyone to come together as a family.
Where is this?
This is happening at our studios in Oregon,
right.
Very close to Daystar.
Oh, okay.
Oh, that place.
You know the place,
okay,
yes.
That place.
It's Anthill Studios, it's plot E, Ikosi Road, Oregon.
So, I've always been intrigued by the challenge that stage had over the years. And with what you're saying now, and what a number of other people like you, Bolanle Austin Peters, and the rest of them are doing, trying to bring back the stage culture is a good thing now. What are the challenges that you think stage must surmount so that it can be sustainable? I
think the big one has to be to target a younger audience, because you always need that young audience energy. The younger audience always prove that something has a future, because they are going to be there for a number of years. We need to be careful not to make stage elitist. That has always been the problem. It always felt like something for a class of people, and that's what we started thinking about. First of all, we designed the stories in a way that are easy to digest for a diverse audience. We made the tickets, we spread it out a bit, so that even if you don't have, if you're a student, for example, it's just 10K with an ID card, But ultimately, we need to make stage exciting for people. And I always say that for a long time, Nigeria has always just done one thing or the other, whereas our counterparts in Europe, they do everything. There are still circus shows, in Europe, if you want to, there's the Moulin Rouge, there's all these, events that there are people who don't even go to cinema, and they spend all their money at these activities. It shouldn't be an either or thing when it comes to entertainment. We should be able to capture all these facets. And we grew with theater in Nigeria. We need to expand it, because it's an experience that you can never have anywhere else.
Well, we could go on and on with you, because it sounds like we can just keep you here for another hour. It's just that I know that Mr. Adekalu is going to come after me. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you very
morning.
much for having me.
And we can only wish you the best. We hope you find the treasure you are looking for.
Well, we hope that people are
unless that treasure is a SUV. The Lord be with you.
Hypothetical treasure.
It is not. It's
no, it's not hypo.
It's not hypo.
It's not hypothetical.
Please, these students, is MBA, master student, are they involved in these students with ID card?
Well, yeah, university, but shame on you if you are PhD.
Oh, come on. Student is student.
Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you
Really appreciate it. Niyi Akinmolayan, award-winning filmmaker, all inclusive.
All inclusive.